As the Save America Act sits idle in the Senate, lawmakers are on a paid 2-week vacation. You might have heard that. Now you see them here in these photos, several obtained by TMZ, flying out, dining out, watching Real Housewives, even hitting up the casinos. But as some of our elected officials hit the slots and binge on reality television, Senator Mike Lee is still hard at work, and he has a big idea. He's calling for President Trump to invoke his power under Article 2 of the U.S. Constitution to force Congress back to work to pass the Save America Act. It's a power that hasn't been used since President Truman in 1948, and it's grounded in the Constitution. Article 2, Section 3 says this, quote, he, meaning the president, may on extraordinary occasions convene both houses or either of them, and in case of disagreement between them with respect to the time of adjournment, he may adjourn them to such time as he shall think proper. President Trump leaned into this idea when DHS funding was at issue, telling the New York Post, quote, it's something that's under consideration. Maybe we'll let them have Easter. So will President Trump consider reconvening Congress to pass the Save America Act, among other key priorities? With me now is the sponsor of the Save America Act, Utah Senator Mike Lee. Senator Lee, the President of the United States, you've been tweeting about this, suggested this as a possibility with DHS funding. What do you think should happen as you watch your colleagues hit the slots?
Yeah, look, it was made a possibility back in 1787 when they wrote Article 2, Section 3 of the Constitution, which gives him this power in extraordinary occasions. Now, Kayleigh, if it's not an extraordinary occasion, when you've got a department as crucial to our national security as the Department of Homeland Security is, and it's gone unfunded now for 50 days because of this impasse, and Congress leaves town, both chambers, for 2 weeks while that's happening, all at the same time when we had attack after attack at military installations around the United States, this seems to me like it would qualify as an extraordinary occasion. And this would give us a chance to get back and get DHS funded, and I hope next turn to the Save America Act. We put that on the floor, debate it, and if we keep debating it until we're ready to pass it, it will pass.
The actor Meryl Streep has decided to lend her voice to opposing the Save America Act. Here's her criticism. Listen to this.
The Save America Act, if that passes, all the married women that have changed their names are going to have to go to the registrar and prove that they are who they are. So when you get to the voting booth in November, you might be disqualified because your name doesn't, on your birth certificate, doesn't match your name on the voting rolls. So everybody has to get... And this is such a pain in the neck because you have to go, but do it, because otherwise you'll be turned away. And I think that women need to be heard, especially in this moment.
Hoping you can provide a fact check.
Look, that is as fictional as every single movie she's ever starred in. And I have an immense respect for Meryl Streep. I think she's a phenomenal actress. She's mistaken there. I don't know who has told her this. I don't know whether she was put up to it. She delivered those lines flawlessly, as she does in all of her movies. But the lines aren't true. The lines are paranoid fantasy. There's not a scintilla of truth to them, Kayleigh. Look, the fact is that we make it really easy to vote and hard to cheat under the Save America Act. It couldn't be easier to vote under the Save America Act. And that's why every argument Democrats make against the Save America Act is contrived. You peel it back, it cannot withstand review against the backdrop of what the bill actually says.
You have talked about getting rid of the zombie filibuster. President Trump's very much on your side on that. I want to play the latest we have from Majority Leader John Thune on that. Watch this.
Well, the president is on that issue. He has, as you know, a very strong view and incredibly passionate about it. My job, obviously, is to define reality. And reality is that it's nowhere even, it's not even a close call. I've said this before, but it's true. It's not a handful of 3 or 4 Republicans in the Senate. It is a large number of Senate Republicans who feel very strongly about the filibuster, its role in our democracy, and the role that it plays in giving a voice to the minority in our democracy.
I've seen a lot of great love stories. I watched the Titanic growing up, but I've never seen a greater love story than the love for the Senate for the filibuster. Why is that?
Look, it is a time-honored tradition. Historically, it was rooted in the fact that every senator could continue to speak as long as he or she wanted to, even if everyone else was finished speaking and didn't want debate to continue. We have adopted over time means of bringing debate to a close when a supermajority want to do that. The problem, Kayleigh, is that it's morphed into this de facto passage threshold. Legislation in the Senate actually passes with a simple majority, but most of the time, in order to get to passage, you first have to bring debate to a close. We've lost sight of the fact that there are other ways of bringing debate to a close that don't require 60 votes. If we would focus more on that, focus on exhausting them physically, politically, and exhausting their right to speak under the rules, we could bring an end to what I call the zombie filibuster, which is the filibuster but without the speaking. Filibustering is about speaking, and the way we do it these days, it's not only a silent filibuster, it's as though it's coming from the world of the undead. These are speeches that are never given, and instead it becomes a de facto 60-vote passage threshold, which it is not. And that's why if we got back to the Senate, this is why I've maintained we need to get back onto the Save America Act as soon as possible. We debate that. 85% of Americans want this. Even among Democrats, the only place where it's unpopular among Democrats is in Congress, literally. And if we debate this thing, it will continue to become more popular, and it will pass as long as we just make sure that we keep debate open and aggressive until we are ready to bring it to a vote and win.
In terms of the issue of protecting our voting and citizenship, President Trump seems to be doing a lot of the work of Congress these days on DHS funding, and now with an executive order, it didn't get much coverage, should have. The executive order will require the administration to create a list of confirmed U.S. citizens who are eligible to vote in each state. It seems like that's at least mild progress. President Trump wanting that action. Your thoughts?
Yeah, first of all, it's fantastic. Anytime we can get more people in the U.S. government trying to make it easy to vote and hard to cheat, that's a good thing. And I applaud President Trump for doing that. We do have to remember, though, Kayleigh, we have to make the laws. When we can't rely always on the fact that we've got a president of the United States who is deeply concerned about the country, we've got to be equally concerned. We've got to be doing this on our own. I wonder how long it'll be before Judge Boasberg or some other judge cosplaying as president tries to knock that order down. It's one of the many reasons why we've got to put it in legislation.
Final question for you. There's some reports out that you could be the next Attorney General. Permission to dodge the question, but I have to ask, Senator Lee.
Look, Kayleigh, I've got the job I want. I've got my dream job. I'm so grateful to the people of Utah for electing me to this position, and I have got to stay in the Senate and get the Save America Act passed. That's what I look forward to doing.
Senator Mike Lee, thank you.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.